If you guys are interested in looking at this camera further, I placed a link on the description below. Also, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe by hitting down below to see more reviews like this. First, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what you get inside this box. Then I'm going to install the camera in the car and walk you through the main features of it. And finally, we'll take a look at some actual test drive footage, both at day and night. This dashcam is equipped with a full 10-inch display, and the display is hidden behind the mirror, which means that when the LCD panel is off, this looks and acts like a standard mirror. But when the LCD panel is on, this entire thing turns into a display, which is always a pretty cool party trick. Now, on the back of the dashcam, you can see that the body is made out of plastic, but has a nice finish to it, a very high-tech look to it, and it feels quite solid. Now, how is this dashcam going to be mounted to our car? Well, it's going to sit directly on top of our existing mirror, and it's going to be held in place with these silicone straps. Now, what's interesting about this mirror dashcam is something I have not seen before. Typically, the mirror dashcams have prongs that are facing this way, so when you install it into a mirror, they kind of go in here, but that limits the size of the mirror, and if your mirror is too large, now you have a problem. In here, by going with a flat strap, this can accommodate very large mirror sizes. So that's great that they went to a flat strap design. Now let's talk about the camera that's in here. This forward pointing camera can be moved up and down, side to side, to further adjust where you want this to point. And it's capable of full 2.5K resolution. So that is great. Now, moving towards the top of the dash cam, we have a couple inputs. There's a GPS input in here, but I don't believe this camera supports GPS. I'll hook up a GPS antenna to it and see what happens. Then you have the memory card slot. This dashcam supports memory cards all the way up to 128 gigabytes in size. And then you have an AV in. So this camera will support a rear backup camera that is included with this mirror dashcam. And then you have a power input, which is in the form of a mini USB port. Alright, let's look at what else comes with this dashcam. They include this power adapter, which is a standard cigarette lighter adapter plug, and they also include several straps for us to mount the mirror. You only need two, but it's great that they included two extra ones if we ever need another one in the future. Now here's the rear backup camera. Now the rear backup camera is waterproof, so it could be installed outside of your car, which is great. I normally install mine inside, but you could install this outside, typically by the license plate. Now, how is this going to be installed? Well, we have a couple options. They include a couple of screws, so we can drill this or directly screw this onto our car, or my favorite method, with high-strength double-sided tape. We put that on here, peel the adhesive back, and then stick it into our location of our choice. Now the bracket can be tilted up and down so we can aim the camera to get the best view possible. Now you also get the cable for the backup camera itself, and this cable is about 23 feet in length, so it should be sufficient for most applications. Also included is the stream installation tool, which should make our lives easier if we decide to hide the wires in the trim of our car. With this tool, we can push the cable underneath the trim and eliminate the need to pull any panels to hide the cable. And finally, they include a simple to use or simple to read user manual. Okay, let's move on to the car. And here's the Vivilink VX510 mirror dashcam. I'm going to turn it on manually. I like the way it has like a harp going on. Welcome aboard. And normally the camera is going to turn on automatically. I like to turn it on manually just so we can see how fast the camera turns on. You'll notice that by default we're presented with the rear view. So we're showing the rear view of the car. So it's simulating a mirror, a standard mirror. And I also like how it's a pretty clean interface. If you look at this, they only have the essentials, which is the date and the time. So that keeps the screen really nice and clean, allowing us to focus on the road. And we also get miles per hour. It turns out when I hooked up a GPS antenna to it, the GPS works. So I'm kind of thinking that this dashcam, this mirror dashcam, may be the best bang for your buck in terms of a mirror dashcam. Now we know we're recording because of the red blinking dot right here. So we can slide our finger this way, and now we can see both views, which is the front view and the rear view. Now this view is primarily meant for us to adjust the dash cam so it points to the right place more than for us to drive with. If I move that again, I can see the front. If I move that again, I can see the back. And another nice thing about it is that let's say we are backing up and I want to see what's down there. Well, I can simply slide my finger and I can move the view so I can now see what's lower, or I can slide it up a little bit. So it's the equivalent of you tilting your mirror. You're able to aim the dash cam, which is great. Same thing for the front. The front, if I feel that this is a little too high, I can name it. Now the entire image is being recorded all the way from the top to the bottom. This is just adjusting what we see displayed on the mirror. So somewhere about here is correct, or right for me. Now let's look at the actual menu. If I tap the screen and I press the little gear icon, we have a menu interface that is very easy to use. We'll start with the resolution. This dashcam, like I said, supports 2.5K resolution in the front and 1080 in the rear. But if I hit this button, I can change both of them to be 1080 by 1080. That would help if you're running a smaller memory card and you wanted to cram more video in there. I run mine at a default of 2.5K in the front and 1080 in the rear. Loop recording, we can change the length of the video segments that are being recorded. I like 3-minute segments because I don't end up with a lot of files in the memory card. I end up with nice 3-minute chunks, which makes it easier if I'm looking for a particular video that I recorded at some point in time. I can also enable something called time-lapse. Time-lapse is quite interesting. If I was going on some kind of scenic trip and I wanted to record the drive up, and I could capture that by turning on the time-lapse, where it will take either 1 picture every second, or 2 pictures every second, or 3 pictures every second. So it will create a compressed view of our drive. So it's kind of meant for an artistic purposes. People who own action cameras will be familiar with the time-lapse option. The audio, we can choose not to record audio, or we can choose to record the audio. So that's a microphone. Driving mode, this is quite interesting right here. This camera has a built-in G sensor. So the dash cam is going to detect when we get into a car crash because it's going to feel when the car gets hit by another car or when you hit something. Now we can change the sensitivity of that sensor. I run mine at low. If I run that at high, every single little bump on the road might set off the dash cam and it might think that I'm crashing left to right. So low seems to work out good enough for me. Now this dash cam also has something quite interesting that I have not seen before. The parking mode. Parking mode does not require this dashcam to be hardwired. There's actually a small built-in battery on this dashcam that enables the dashcam to record for a few minutes when the car is off. Now we don't need to record a long time because remember the incident that's going to happen is only going to take a few seconds. So if I run that at low and I'm away from the car and somebody bumps into the car, the camera is going to have a record of that bump. Now, when that bump happened, it's only going to take a few seconds, maybe a minute or so. So there should be a sufficient battery in it to record several incidents. Now, they do recommend you hardwire the dash cam for having peace of mind that the parking mode is always on because, again, the battery is very small and it's only going to last so long before it depletes. License plate, we can choose to display the license plate in the video that's recorded or not have it. We can change also the sleep time, which is how much time elapses before the LCD turns off and this turns into a regular mirror. H.265, this is the codec that is being used by the dashcam. If you set this to 264, you will still get really good pictures, but the files are a little bit bigger. H.265 is a newer codec that allows better compression and better image quality, so that is the reason why a lot of cameras are moving to H.265. Frequency. If there's one option that you want to check in your dashcam, it's going to be frequency. I'm going to have it set at 60 Hz for the US. If you're outside of the US, like in Europe, 50 Hz will be good for you. And this is going to reduce the flickering of any lights that we might be recording. The tap sound. I like to have that off because otherwise you get this annoying sound. Sounds like a telephone. So I turn that off. I don't like to hear a beep when I press stuff. Speech recognition. This is an option that is not available on a lot of dash cams. If I turn that recognition on, the camera is going to respond to voice commands. And there are several voice commands that are going to be displayed here so we can play with those. So let's try that out. Okay, so it's on. We'll go back to front menu. Show both cameras. Show front camera.
Okay.
Show rear camera.
Okay.
So that is voice recognition, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. You just gotta remember or memorize some of the commands. So I'm gonna turn that off right here. And we can also look at the GPS. We can confirm that there is GPS on this dashcam, which is amazing. I did not think it had GPS, but it does have GPS built in. And we can change the time zone where we're located in. I'm in California, so UTC -8 works well for me. Speed setting. This is kind of cool because this is an alert or a little alarm that tells you if you're speeding. And I play with the different settings on here. So there's a couple different increments. And it works pretty well because sometimes you're going at 65 miles an hour and you go maybe a couple miles over, then it's going to remind you. And it has like a nice ring to it, like bing. And you know, oh, I better back off the accelerator. So that's pretty cool that it has that on there. And we can also change the speed unit. So we can change that to kilometers, or we can change that back to miles per hour. So that completes the overview of those features. Now let's exit out of those menu. Now what about this stuff right here? Well, if I was going to have a private top secret conversation, I could manually turn off temporarily the microphone. I'm going to turn it back on. That's pretty cool. I could also choose to take a picture of what I'm seeing. Perhaps I see a bird passing by and I like the bird, or I like the cat that I just saw. I can take a picture of that, or perhaps a license plate. We could also start or stop the recording, and we can trigger also a manually locked video. So by default, the camera, like I said, will sense when you get into a car crash. But what if you see a car crash? Or what if you see something of interest? Let's say a reindeer passing by in front of you when you went up to the mountains. If I press the lock button, you can see that there's a yellow bar indicating that now the camera is locking and recording this video because you told it is important. Save this, do not delete this. This is an important video. So that's pretty good that we have full flexibility of the dashcam that way. Another thing that you can do in the front menu is that we can see the videos we previously recorded. So by going into here, we can see not only the normal videos, which means just generic video that is being recorded all the time. That's the video right now. Okay, we're gonna go to the log videos. So the log videos are videos where we told the camera something happened. And in here, for example, I was driving in the freeway and I saw an accident. So I chose to save that video, and we can fast forward that and see the part that we're interested on. But this is a lot easier if you take the videos to your computer and extract them out. Alright, now that we completed looking at the main features of this dashcam, let's take it out for a test drive and see how it performs both at day and at night. And we are back from the test drive. If you guys have any questions about the dashcam, please feel free to put that in the comments below. I have a lot more product reviews coming up like this, so make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss my next upload. And remember, I have placed links in the description to not only the dashcam if you want to look at that further, but also my recommended memory card to use along with. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.